What if I told you that there are epic food stories that often go untold? Join your host, Seth, as he dives into the thrilling world of food challenges and competitive eating, interviewing those who not only take them on, but create them. Buckle up for the heart-pounding moments, behind-the-scenes experiences, and the passion fueling it all. This is Food Challenge News.
Welcome back to the Food Challenge News Podcast. I'm your host, Seth, and today I'm joined by Phil from Burnin Bites Down Under. How are you doing today, Phil?
I'm awesome, mate. How you going, Spice Legends?
So let's talk about Burnin Bites Down Under. Take us back to the beginning. How did it first come together?
It's a wild and weird story. Long story short, I had a really bad injury. I ripped my pec off the bone and I had to get it surgically reattached, and it was in a bad way, you know? And long story short, I was feeling sad and sorry for myself, and one of my mates came over and he goes, "Well, let's go watch this show." And we started watching Hot Ones, and really got on the show. We've got a few seasons under our belt, and my mate jokingly just sort of says to me, he goes, "Mate, you could do that." I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "You don't shut up. You could talk for like 4 people." And he goes, "But now, can you handle chili?" Like, that's the one question. So next thing you know, he's pulled up the Heatonist box, and he's got a sauce. I think it was called Medusa. It was like about 1,000,000 Scovilles. He goes, "Here, try this." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's not bad." And he goes, "What, dude? That's stupid hot." I'm like, "Okay." And he goes, "Here, try this." And pulls me out the last dab double X, and about 2,000,000 Scovilles apparently. And he goes, "Here, try this." So I tried. No, that's not bad. That's pretty tasty. He goes, "What, dude? That brings tears to my eyes." And he goes, "No, you're meant to do this, mate." And so we sort of went from there. We decided to started it as like an Aussie Hot Ones, and we started doing interviews, and then we just sort of kept diversifying and adding more things to the belt and more notches. And now we just sort of do everything. We're a bit of a jack of all trades.
The first thing you tried that was really hot, you say was 1,000,000?
It was about 1,000,000 Scovilles. I think it was called Medusa. It was like, they put like snakes in the head and stuff like that. It was like a green looking sauce. Like it looked like sort of a birthday kind of thing. And yeah, obviously had some extract in it. It was pretty hot. But like it just affected him way more than me. I don't know. And it was just like, well, I don't know, man. It was pretty tasty to me. I mean, I know it was some spice in it, but it just didn't affect me as much as he did.
So it didn't basically affect you at all?
Oh, no, it did, but just like not anywhere near here as much as him. Like he was like tears in the eyes, a little bit of drool, face has gone red, and I'm like, yum.
So how was it doing the last dab then?
Stab, it sort of got me a bit of ginger and turmeric in that one. It definitely kicked it up a notch. Like I definitely felt something, but like I'm definitely not immune to capsaicin, that's for sure. But yeah, it was a lot more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be, because I watched the show. Like I said, we saw a bunch of seasons. I think maybe 7 seasons before we even did this. And I'm just seeing all these people get wrecked, and I'm going, what are they talking about? Like, it's not that bad. But that's just my opinion. I don't know.
Have you ever tried the bomb?
Yeah, I've tried 4 different versions of it now, including the recent most hottest one too.
So for those unfamiliar or don't take on any spicy challenges or don't really eat too much spicy food, how does the bomb affect you?
Well, the bomb, the very first one was I think it was the first sauce with actual extract in it. And if you don't know anything about extract, it's basically synthetic chili. The creators made it to hurt people. Like there's no niceness about it. Like it is a mean, nasty, aggressive sauce, and it's basically like having battery acid. So the point is to be burning and hurt people. And so it's not a nice sauce. It's not the nice sauce that you take your girlfriend and go, "Hey, babe, try this." No, you're not going to get you're not going to get a call back, and you're not going to get a second date. That's for sure.
So before Burnin Bites Down Under, what was your relationship with spicy food, and did your heat tolerance evolve over time?
Well, it's funny. Like both my parents, they've traveled a fair bit. They've gone around the world, and my dad spent a lot of time in Asia and Malaysia and all these countries that really enjoy spice. So he was never afraid of chili. And I remember my earliest memory, I was about 6 years old eating a chili con carne pie, and my mum's just jammed as many chilies as she could underneath the lid of this pie. And so the lid's like yellow, or the top of the pie is yellow, and you couldn't see the underneath of the pie for red chili. She just jammed them all in there. And I'm like, "Jenny, what are you trying to do? Kill me?" And so over time, my tolerance is built naturally.
So how's the audience response been so far, and was there a moment when you realized the show was really connecting with people?
See, that was the thing. The one thing, and I'm not having a stab at Hot Ones. I love it. I think it's a great show. But the one thing that I noticed with Hot Ones is it sort of puts the host and the guests on a pedestal, and you can't really reach them. And that was the one thing that sort of annoyed me and my mates was, well, we want us and the people involved to be a bit more accessible. So when we do our interviews, we either do them live or we make them in a way where people can comment and they can be involved and we can communicate back with them, because we want to be able to communicate with our audience. And so because of that, I think a lot of people enjoy what we're doing, especially in Australia. But look, we've got a pretty large base in America and Canada as well as New Zealand. And so, it's been a pretty good response, because people enjoy being able to talk to people whilst they're during the live stream or what's going on, or they can ask questions and we can answer in real time, or we're accessible enough to answer. So it's been a pretty good response, because I think if I was to comment one negative thing about Hot Ones, I think is just that they're not very accessible, and all we can do is sort of comment on their posts or their videos, but they're not really going to reply, whereas we do, and I can feel like that audience interaction is more fun, both for me as well as the audience, it just makes everything more relatable, if that makes sense.
And I think you have 13,000 followers on Facebook.
Yeah, we're at 13,100 and something followers just on Facey. We've got a fair few on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. So we got all right. And obviously, yeah, I've been all about Australia and New Zealand. We went to Italy last year as well. So we've traveled around a bit with this chili gig. So it's pretty cool.
What's been your favorite part of doing the travels?
Meeting new people, learning new things, trying new food. Like I remember we were in Italy. We went to the World Chili Champs in Italy, hosted by the League of Fire. We had our Australian champion going there. Came fourth, only separated by 60 seconds in a speed round by first place. And oh my God, they had the best jalapeno poppers. It was so amazing. But the thing that struck me the most is that people can speak all kinds of languages, all kinds of cultures, from every single country in the world, but we're all about the same thing. We all want to have a good time. We want to have good food. We want to hang out with good people, and we want to do fun stuff. And I think what was the most amazing thing about chili is it's uniting people in a common interest. And that just blows my mind away, that you might not even speak the same language as someone, but you can definitely enjoy the same things. And that's been such an amazing and beautiful and connecting experience for me. I'm going to be doing this 6 years, but it's been an amazing 6 years. Yeah.
Moving over to the challenge and heat mentality, what's been the most intense food challenge or heat challenge you've taken on, and walk us through what that experience was like?
Oh, wow. So I'll tell you what, some people might say this is a life-altering experience. What we did was we did like a Russian roulette style chili shot challenge. So there's 6 shots on the table, and normally you're supposed to have one shot that is, so they're all chili shots, like jalapeno sauces like that, right? And one of the is like a test tube that's 60 millimeters, right? Or 60 mil, or full of hot sauce. And one of them has pure capsaicin. And I mean, pure 16 million Scovilles, as hot as it scientifically goes, 6 times hotter than a Carolina Reaper hot, right? And instead of having one shot, my friends go, hey, let's do 2. And I'm like, oh, you bastards. So anyway, they go first, right? One guy goes first. He goes, ha, jalapeno. Yes. The next guy goes second. He goes, ha, jalapeno. Yes. And I'm like, oh man, I'm not liking these odds. This is a 1 in 2 chance of getting wrecked, right? So I spin the thing. I pull my thing and I'm going, yep, slam this thing down. The first 60 seconds are gone. And then all of a sudden, this wave of pain and heat just hit me all at once, like a tsunami of pain and fire. I'm like, I just reach. I'm pretty good. I've got a decent gag reflex. But this thing, I just reached for the nearest bucket and I started puking. I left the live stream. It's still going. I run to the toilet and I puked for 45 minutes straight. Once you go over 1 million Scoville, milk isn't your friend anymore, right? So this is 16 million Scovilles. This is 16 times past that. So I had a 2-liter thing of red cordial, which is the only few things that actually bring down the heat and break that capsaicin, as well as citrus and lemon juice. And I've sculled this whole thing. I've gone through all this thing at 45 minutes. The whole toilet's just pink, red cordial. And at one point, I've sneezed while I puked. So the burn's gone through my nose, the burn's gone through the mouth. And when you're on that chili high, you're not thinking. And then I needed to pee. And so then I pee and I'm looked at my downstairs going, oh no. And so downstairs is burning, my mouth is burning, my nose is burning. I'm like, and it's just like non-stop involuntary puking for 45 minutes. And eventually it subsided, and it was like, wow. And then I walked out, and the guy's like, right, and I sort of draw the challenge. But then after that challenge, I had to drive 2.5 hours back home. That was an uncomfortable drive. I tell you what, that was next level. Now that's what I call a life-altering experience, mate.
So it sounds like not only were you properly burning, but you had a proper challenge experience.
Yeah, well, I've done heaps of challenges, but like there is nothing like all chili heads will tell you. There's nothing like trying your first Reaper. You'll never ever forget your first Reaper experience, and I never did, right? But then everyone will say the same thing as well. You'll never forget the first time you tried pure capsaicin crystals. It is just life altering. Like, explain it. You know how people say people aren't present these days? This thing slaps you continuously, like with the force of a sledgehammer, to make you present in that moment when you like it or not. And you're praying to God for it to for it to be over. He doesn't listen. You pray to the devil. He doesn't listen. And you're just like, well, I guess I'm on my own here. You just bent over, just going, let it be over already. But it's never over until it's over.
So after you did the 2.5 hour drive home, what was your recovery time looking like? Because it sounds so brutal, but how long did it take you to get your bearings straight again?
I think it's about halfway through the drive, so about an hour later, I'm like, okay, it's starting to calm down. But then the problem is, what goes in must come out. There was this moment where I really wished that I had installed handlebars on either side of my toilet, but luckily, this guy in Melbourne, further south of me, has invented this thing called the fire arse extinguisher. Now, I'm not even making up. That's actually the real name. And it's this new product that's come out where you spray this little thing on your TP when you're finished after you've done all the wiping and you clean it. Your last wipe was clean, right? You spray it on and it gets rid of the burn down under, right? I didn't believe that, dude. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. This product wouldn't work. And I'm like, what's this? It's not going to hurt, right? So I try this thing and I go, oh, it works. It's immediate. And I was like, yeah, now I swear by this thing. And I run the national comp in Australia, and I give this thing for free to each one of my competitors as sort of like a consolation prize pack, no matter what happens with the competition.
And when did that come out?
About 3 years ago. So if you go check it out at firearseextinguisher.com. They're based in Melbourne. It's amazing. I've never seen anything like it. I've seen so many other, put in quotation mark, cures and things that help you when you're doing the number 2 and you're trying to get rid of it. And nothing helps like this stuff. It's amazing. I have no affiliation with them. I just think that their product's great and it really works. So I swear by it, mate. Yeah, absolutely.
So when you're about to take the first bite of something just so brutally hot, what's happening mentally and physically with you?
All right. So this is where it gets nasty, and it's it's this moment where you're like, okay, you have this self-talk to yourself in your mind going, this is where it gets real. This is where the proverbial hits the fan, right? So you have to go in mentally strong, right? You can prep and you can condition and you can do whatever you want. But if your head is not there, your head's not in the game, so to speak, there's no point, right? So you've got to get your head in the game. You've got to do whatever works. You've had slapping yourself in the face. You do a workout before, whatever you do, you get yourself in the game. If your head's not in the game, you're not doing it, right? And so that's what it is when you know that you got to do something, you go, righto, you tick all the boxes, you go, I prepped, I've conditioned, I've done this, I've built up my tolerance, but is my head in the game? And then that's the thing, is the final 20 or 30 minutes before you do a brutal sort of challenge or whatever, he's like, right, get my head in the game. Otherwise, it's not happening, hey? And that's basically my sort of tick of approval of what you got to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. And also, in your experience, what matters more when facing extreme heat? Physical tolerance or the mental toughness side of it? And also why?
All right. So that's an excellent question, right? Now, I see this as sort of like, especially when you're doing extreme comps and like really heavy duty comps where none of the competitors that you're facing against that you're sitting next to are amateur, right? Once you go pro or you're in comps that aren't amateur anymore, you, same as any other Olympic athlete, right? It's these 1% things. So everyone is trained, physically prepped, done all these things, and they've ticked off all the boxes, like I was saying before. But it's that mental toughness that gets you over that line. It's that 1%, right? And I've seen so many competitions. Like, again, I run the Australian Chili Champs. So I've run a 30-round brutal comp. It's some of the most brutal stuff you've seen people put in the mountains. And it's the thing that gets people over the line, and including me, is that mental toughness. Is just, I will not quit. I'm not going to stop until I fall over. I'm not going to stop until there's a hole in my stomach. I'm not going to stop until I win, kind of thing. And that's the only thing that gets you over the line, because once you get to a certain level, just like the Olympics, everyone is good. Everyone is amazing. They're extreme competitors, but it's that 1% of doing that thing that gets you mentally tougher over the line, that determination, that motivation, that willpower. So I stand by it. Mentality and your mental toughness is what matters the most, I think.
So you've been a part of like extreme chili eating contests, but you also have put them on, right?
Exactly. That's right. Yeah. So I don't, I try to be an absolute man of my word, in the sense that, like, I don't just sort of talk the talk, I walk the walk as well. And so what's funny is, even though I might talk a lot and might sound like I make a lot of things about me, when it comes to the Australian Chili Championship, it's not about me. And so one of the things is, the Australian Chili Champs is 30 rounds, the most brutal things you've seen. Round one is 2 chocolate habaneros at 577,000 Scovilles, and a shot of hot sauce. That's round one. And we go 30 rounds all the way up to pure capsaicin, with drops, capsaicin crystals, you name it, and it is brutal. It's fun. It's creative. It's wild and zany. But the thing is, I have to put them in order. And how do you put something in order? You have to taste it. And so when I actually tell all the competitors too, if I ever laugh at you, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at remembering how much this hurt me. And then seeing your reaction as well. So don't take it personally. I'm just remembering how much this wrecked me, so it's funny. It's this funny catch-22 going, yeah. This is going to burn your absolute ringer, but I've tried it all too, if that makes sense.
Which is your favorite side of it? As far as, do you more like the competition aspect, where you're out there competing to bring it home for the spicy victory, or talking on the microphone and stuff like that?
I have to say, a lot of people describe me as a natural showman. I'm a natural extrovert. I love being behind the microphone. It's not that I'm afraid of chili competitions or challenges. I have no problem with that. What the thing is that I enjoy more is putting on the show and putting on a grab competition and wowing an audience. And that's kind of why I enjoy putting these competitions on, is showing people this is what humans are capable of, and there isn't a limit. Your limit is only as far as either your imagination or as far as you're willing to go. But it's so amazing to see that 20 years ago, we wouldn't be talking about this in Australia, and now you can go into your local grocery store, like a Woolworths or Coles, and there is just a whole half aisle of just hot sauces. And I'm really proud to be part of this movement where we're making this more in the spotlight of the general public. We're making chili more in the mainstream, people enjoying it more. And I'm also sort of showing them, if these people are doing all the craziest, as bad as it gets, and they're not dying, right, then why can't you? And it sort of shows people this is the worst of the worst, and none of them are dying. None of them are hospitalized. They're all okay. It's just temporary pain, And that's what I really enjoy about this is just showing that what humans are capable of, this wow factor, this X factor, this entertainment, and at the same time going, it's not that bad. Have a go, kind of thing.
How long did it take you to have all the bottles of hot sauce that are behind you for your show? Because it's like a staggering amount.
Well, the thing is, so everything I review, I'll put up and show off. I love to show off what we have in Australia, because there's nothing against an America or Canada or any other country, but there's just so many other times where I've heard this country first, this country first. And so what Burnin Bites Down Under, as you could probably tell by our title, is I like to promote and show off what Australia and New Zealand, so our down under main countries, have to show in the chili, And so that's why I show off the stuff. But yeah, it's a bit of a collection that's been over years. So I probably over the last 6 years or so, and I got to swap and change them up a bit, and move around. So yeah, it's sort of stuff I've collected over the last 6 years. So it wasn't overnight. They say Rome wasn't built in a day, and that collection wasn't built in a day as well. That's for sure.
You'll even dress up for your show too.
I'm a pretty extrovert person, and I'm an ADHD. So that combination is a personality that's not meant to be quiet and not meant to be boring. So what I do is I dress as something to do with either the logo, the mascot, the label, the picture, or something to do with that brand, because I don't know, I got nothing against any other people that review things and they do it their way, but I get bored very easily being an ADHD person. So what I do is I'll do that. And I feel like if it entertains me, it'll entertain my audience as well. So that's where I decided to do that kind of stuff, because I just can't just sit there and just try something. I want to do things that are going to push the envelope, and by an ironic twist, a lot of people aren't willing to do that. They're not willing to laugh at themselves and be silly and make fun of themselves. I don't have that problem. I laugh at myself all the time because I know I'm a silly, stupid bugger, and that I just try to enjoy life as much as possible and laugh at myself, and I think sometimes, especially in comedy and in humor, that the best kind of laughter and the best kind of jokes and humor and comedy is self-deprecating, is making fun of yourself.
And you've already talked a little bit about it, but what do you think sets Burnin Bites Down Under apart from other hot food and sauce review shows in the online space?
The willingness to go over the top almost every single video, being silly, making fun of myself, but also we don't do one thing. We don't just do reviews. We don't just do chili competitions. I don't just MC comps. I don't just do local stuff. I travel all over Australia. I go to New Zealand. We go to the world. We go to Italy. We go all over the place and run competitions, but also we review stuff like I was saying, and we just show people what chili is about. I try to showcase there's not one way to enjoy chili. There's not one type of hot sauce. There's not one type of flavor. There's not one type of meal. There's not one type of curry or dish. There's so many ways to enjoy chili. There's so many different products out there, and there's so many different cultures, and there's so many different ways that you can try chili in its so many different flavors and cuisines. And I think the main thing is not, am I not just being not serious, but I'm also just trying to show people to don't be afraid, try new things. Because one of the things that I've learned so much in my life is if you're afraid to not try new things, or you just don't try things at least once, then you might miss out on something you love. And I sort of also took that leaf out of that Jim Carrey movie, Yes Man. At one point in my life, I went and did a Tony Robbins conference, and I did this. I just said yes to everything for a year, just for fun. And it opened my eyes to a lot of things. And I think I've sort of taken that on board a bit with Burnin Bites as well. And just giving things a go. I'm willing to lose sleep. I'm willing to lose time and money and effort, to do these things, because you just never know what's on the other side of fear, and you never know what's on the other side of things that are outside your comfort zone. So I keep trying to do that and push things outside my comfort zone to show everyone else, look, it's not that bad.
Your passion really shines through, like what, just hearing you on the podcast or even just watching your show. It's very apparent that you're very passionate about not only hot and spicy stuff, but just having a great time.
Absolutely, mate. I think, to be honest, passion, you can't be in the chili industry without passion. It's a requirement, if that makes sense. A passion pushes the other line. Like when I first started doing these interviews, we have 3 different cameras, 3 different camera angles. We had to edit all, I was spending 36 hours per episode editing, and sitting and staring at yourself and listening to your own voice. Nothing but obsession and passion can get you over the line to do something that crazy, and I think it's just a requirement, I keep, every time I go to a big chili festival, I see these guys with these shirts that say OCD, and it says obsessive chili disorder. And I'm like, yep, that's totally it, and it's just one of those things. It requires passion, and that's what's going to get you the line. And that'll get you over the line 10 out of 10 times over people that are just sort of doing it to clock in and clock out.
So looking ahead, what exciting challenges, collaborations, or projects do you have coming up next for Burnin Bites Down Under?
There's so much going on. So this Valentine's Day, 2 days from now, we're running a local chili competition, which has got an amateur comp. And then straight after the amateur comp is our state competition. We've got a 5-way chili face-off to be the state representative in the national comp, which I run. So every year we run it at the biggest chili festival in Australia, which is called Sawtell Chili Festival. It has 40 to 50,000 people rock up every year. It's been going about 26 years now. And we have the 8 best, craziest, biggest, scariest, meanest, and most insane freaks of nature get on stage and compete against each other and put the most brutal things in their mouth. So this is the first leg of that. And so what I do is I fly to every state and territory in Australia, and we find the best chili competitors. We get them to compete against each other. Then we fly to New Zealand. It's our neighbor, sort of like your Canada, America's Canada to America, if that makes sense. They're the neighbors, and we compete against them. And I get our best 2 competitors from Australia to compete against them for the Oceania belt, or the AKA Southern Hemisphere belt. And the winner of that gets to go and compete in the World Chili Champs, which is in Italy at the Rieti Festival. It's about an hour and a half northeast of Rome, to see who could be the best chili competitor in the world. And so it's a big year, and this is the start of the season, and it's kicking off, and it's kicking off hard here in Australia. So yeah, a lot going on.
Yeah, it sounds exciting, and it sounds like it's going to be a spicy good time.
As we say, Burnin Bites Down Under, keep calm, be awesome. You.
In 5 years, what do you hope to achieve for Burnin Bites Down Under? Is there anything that you haven't achieved yet that you're like, I just need a little bit more time to perfect this, or maybe get some extra equipment, or what do you hope to achieve?
Well, it's funny you say that. So, like I said, we currently, Burnin Bites Down Under, we're doing the Australian Chili Championship at the biggest chili festival in Australia. But what I want to do is I want to build a chili festival around the Australian Chili Championship, and I want to build it and do a festival in the Sydney CBD, because Sydney is the biggest city in Australia, and we want to have the biggest crowd with the biggest audience, the biggest of everything. You know, we want to have the most amount of stalls. I want to have just the biggest, baddest, and everything. I want to have a competition for the best of the best in Australia in every single facet. My dream is to have the Australian Chili Championship be the last competition of the day. We have a speed eating comp, the best speed eaters for chili in Australia, the best consumption eaters for chili in Australia, the best only chili, as in raw chilies, the best only chili products, and then the Australian Chili Championship, which is a combination of chili products and raw chilies. And so this way it shows off just the absolute penultimate best of the best in Australia for chili in every single aspect. And that way everyone wins, everyone gets a shot, you know, because the one negative thing I've had about the Australian Chili Champs is some people go, oh, I'm good at eating raw chilies, but I'm not good at chili products. Or I'm good at eating raw chili products, but I'm not good at eating raw chilies. And I would love to create a space where everyone gets their shot at glory. You know, they get to show off their ability in their chosen niche sport, or what they're really good at, you know. And I just wanted to show off the very, very best. And I just thought that would be the absolute best. So that is my aim within the next 5 years, to create something like that. And there's a place in Darling Harbour where I'm really sussing out, going, oh, that'd be a great place, because it has on average about 2.2 million people walk through on average per day. So I would love to have that space and have that right there, and people just go, wow, check this out, and just have this real wow X factor that just people just go, what is this? This is mental. And you don't have to like chili to enjoy it. You can just watch it go, oh, look at these crazy people.
And lastly, before we wrap it up, what's one thing you want to say to anyone listening to this right now?
Look, don't be intimidated by chili. Go out, give it a go, you know, start small and work your way up. Try something mild and then work your way out to the mild stuff. I think, because like at the end of the day, you know, chili, unless there's only 4 conditions that can make you actually have serious repercussions for chili. And that's either having a heart condition, being pregnant, being under 18, or being allergic to chili. But if you don't have any of those things, you can go as nuts as you wanted to. And it's funny, it's one of those things. Chili is this amazing superfood with 44 different health benefits, you know, and it is such an amazing thing to be a part of. The chili community is beautiful, and it's amazing to be a part of. I have met such amazing, caring people from everywhere in the world. I don't even speak the same language as them. I've got to press Google Translate to find out what they say. But I have the most amazing, thought-provoking, and positive conversations with these people. And it is so good to expand both my knowledge, my communication skills, and what I know about the world, and realize that at the end of the day, that we're all just the same. And if you're part of this beautiful thing that we call the chili community, both worldwide and locally, you're part of something that's really cool and positive. And I wish that for everyone, that everyone could feel as connected as I do with not just chili, but the rest of the community of the world, to realize that, you know, we're all awesome people. And we all, like I said before, we all just want happiness, fun and just to enjoy each other's company. And I think that translates really well in the chiller community, if that makes sense.
And that concludes our interview with Phil from Burnin Bites Down Under. Phil, thanks for coming on the podcast today. I really appreciate it.
No worries, Spice Legends. Good to hear from you guys.
And we'll have all of Burnin Bites Down Under links in the description below. And thanks for listening, everybody, as always. And we'll see you in the next episode.